Ukraine. We stand with the people of Ukraine, and we stand with Canadians here at home with ties to Ukraine. We must use all of the tools available to us as a country to defend Ukraine and Europe against a vicious authoritarian onslaught. One of the things that Canada can do to support democracies in Europe is for this government to recognize that Canada has immense energy resources, is to recognize that energy is vital to Canadian and European defense and security, to recognize that natural gas is consistent with environmental goals in the transition to non-emitting sources of energy, and to undertake new measures that ensure natural gas pipelines can be built and approved to Atlantic tidewater. If we can build pipelines to get Canadian natural gas to tidewater, we can displace Russian gas in Europe, thereby countering the threat from the Russian Federation and President Vladimir Putin, and strengthening democracy in Europe and here at home in Canada. Thank you.
Questions and comments? Questions et commentaires? The honourable member for Timmins, James Bay.
Speaker, Parliament certainly stands to condemn Vladimir Putin for their unprovoked illegal attack, and we certainly stand with the people of Ukraine. But what I find really disturbing and appalling at this time is the crass, exploitive attitude of the Conservatives to try and take a humanitarian disaster and use it to promote the pipe dream of spending billions of taxpayers' dollars on pipelines. They could have talked about the need for Parliament to stand together to take on Russian disinformation. They didn't do that. They could have talked about the food crisis we're starting to see if we see wheat exports in Ukraine cut off. They could have talked about refugees, but they're not interested in that. I expect a lot from any of the Conservative backbenchers, but I expect more from this member. Does he not know that Quebec has already shut down LNG pipelines? So if he's going to get to tidewater, does he not have a map of Canada? Because Quebec says it will not allow LNG exports because it actually undermines our world obligations to reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
For Wellington, Halton Hills.
Well, I want to thank my honourable colleague for the question, but I couldn't disagree with him more. We have for weeks, for months, for years, called for the government to issue an order of general application to direct the CRTC to a new broadcasting policy under Section 7 of the Broadcasting Act to take state-controlled broadcasters that spread disinformation and propaganda off of Canadian airwaves, such as Russia Today and RT. We have been advocating for over a year, for visa-free travel for Ukrainians coming to Canada. And, Madam Speaker, it is clear as understood by the European Union that energy is not only vital to economies, it's vital to defense and security, and that's why the Conservatives have introduced this motion today, because it is vital that we protect the security and defense of this country and that of our European allies and partners.
Comments, the Honourable Parliamentary Secretary of the Government House Leader.